about all that. Okay.
Take a deep breath. Yeah.
I don't think any of us are in a hurry. We gotta stay here.
Yeah.
Get rid of us.
Yeah, the donuts are here.
Okay, let's try this.
Every nation on earth could trace its origins to just three men, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. In the 10th chapter of Genesis, there is a list. Is this just a myth, or is it a remarkable ancient map?
Oh, come on.
Really, it's on the internet, isn't it? It's gotta keep doing this. Really, like.
Well, so far, how do you like it?
Hey, great.
Where our own story began. Find out. We must go back to the beginning, to the foot of Mount Ararat. After the Great Flood, history begins again with one family. From the sons of Noah, the map of humanity began to take shape. Through Japheth, the people spread north and west toward the coastlands and the distant islands. Through Ham, they moved southward toward Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, founding some of the mightiest empires the world would ever know. And through Shem, the descendants settled in the heart of the ancient Near East, the cradle of civilization, the land known as the Fertile Crescent. Jacob, whose name meant expansion. He fathered 7 sons, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Shek, and Tiras. Their heritage would lay the foundation for nations stretching from the Black Sea to the shores of the Mediterranean. From Gomer came 3 sons, Ashkenaz, Rephath, and Togarmah. It was through Ashkenaz that the famed Scythians, the legendary horse masters of the steppes, first arose. Magog represents the fierce nomadic warriors of Eurasia's vast expanse. Madai settled in the highlands of Iran, becoming the ancestor of the powerful Medes. Their kingdom exerted a strong influence on the balance of power in the Near East, laying the vital groundwork for the subsequent Persian Empire. But it was Javan who looked to the sea, becoming the forefather of the Ionian Greeks. His lineage flows through 4 sons, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. These sons were not merely traders. They mastered the sea and became the main carriers for laying the foundation for future Hellenic influence across the entire Mediterranean coastline. Japheth's expansion concludes here. Now we must turn our attention to the south. Ham, whose name signifies hot or burned. It was a destiny soon realized as he fathered 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. These sons were the true empire builders and city founders of the ancient world. Cush, the firstborn, brought forth a vast lineage. His 6 sons were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, Sabteka, and Nimrod. And from Rama came Sheba and Dedan. All of them spread across the Arabian Peninsula, names famed for their Arabian commerce and wealth. But from this powerful lineage emerged the figure of Nimrod. He was the first heroic warrior on earth, founder of the great Mesopotamian cities of Babylon and Nineveh. Mizraim is the biblical name for Egypt. His 7 descendants, the Ludim, Animim, Lahadim, Naptuhim, Pethusim, Persluhim, and Kaphtorim, settled the Nile Valley, constructing the magnificent civilization of the pyramids. Intriguingly, his line through the Kasluhim also gave rise to the Philistines, who would later settle the coastline and become the great rival of Israel. Moving further west, Pup denotes the peoples of Libya in North Africa, securing Ham's dominance across the northern Saharan region. Finally, Canaan, Ham's youngest son. He begat 11 descendants: Sidon, Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Arkite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zimmerite, and the Hamathite. They would later settle the very land promised to Israel. From these sons, Sidon became the ancestor of the Phoenicians. Heth established the powerful Hittite Empire, and through the Jebusites came the key city of ancient Jerusalem. The Amorites built powerful kingdoms spanning the length of Canaan, while the Hivites and Girgashites were deeply entrenched in the central highlands and mountainous regions. The remaining sons settled the northern coast, establishing the key port cities that served as the main entrances to the sea. Ham's empire builders dominated the south. Destiny lies in the very heart of the ancient world. Shem, whose name signified name or reputation. He fathered 5 sons: Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. These 5 lineages settled the vital crossroads of the ancient world, the Fertile Crescent. Elam founded a powerful civilization bordering the Persian Gulf. Ashur gave rise to the ferocious Assyrian Empire, a force that terrorized the ancient world. Lud was the ancestor of the wealthy Lydian kingdom in Asia Minor, who invented the world's first coined money. Aram fathered 4 sons: Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. He brought forth the Arameans, whose language became the lingua franca for regional commerce and culture. But it is the lineage that stems from Arphaxad that the biblical record traces with the most meticulous detail. The line passes through his son Salah, leading to his grandson Eber, from whom the name Hebrews is derived. Eber then branched into 2 main lines, Peleg and Joktan. Joktan's lineage produced 13 sons: Omada, Shaleth, Hazarmaveth, Jira, Hadaram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. They founded many of the early Arabian tribes. But the other line was Peleg. This path runs through generations, including Reu, Serug, Nahor, and Terah, until it converges on one central figure in history: Abraham. And so Shem's descendants settled the Fertile Crescent and spread south into Arabia. Ham conquered the south in Africa, and Japheth claimed the northern seas and coastlands. The atlas is complete. This is not merely a list of names, but a culture's attempt to understand their ancient world, a geopolitical encyclopedia for their time. All of humanity, at its root, is one family. This is not a map of division, but a map of deep, ancient, and complicated connection.
Very cool.
Yeah, isn't it? So the the Hebrews, where we get the name Hebrew, which is interesting. So let's just jump back to chapter 9 just for a second, and wanted to talk about something that was mentioned earlier. Let's see here, 9 and verse 24. When Noah awoke from his wine, well, he was drunk, of course. He knew that his youngest son had what they had done to him. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. But then the curse that Noah said over Canaan. Cursed be Canaan, a servant. He shall be to his a servant of servants. He shall be to his brothers. And so the curse is upon Canaan, not upon all of the genealogy above, just upon Canaan. And I think that was something that was noteworthy, that, you know, the Ham's name means, remember what it said in the video? Burnt.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting, huh? Now I know that Ham's descendants are black. Okay, it's not because of sin. There are some scholars that, I wouldn't even call them that, but some that use this particular verse to say that that's the mark of Cain that's upon them, the blacks. It's not. It's the curse to Canaan that's mentioned there, not the mark of Cain, and nothing against blacks in general. It's just not true. So we were on page 77. And some really good reading there. We won't read it, but we go to question number 1 on page 78. What was sinful about Ham's deed? When we just read part of it, he went in, he saw his father naked, and he was a little drinking the night before, and in the tent drunk. And I shouldn't laugh about that, but the Bible is so awesome because it includes details like this that, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for any of you, but in Proverbs it says that wine is a luxurious thing, but drunkenness riotous. Whosoever is delighted therewith shall not be wise. So I'm just representing to you that I have not been wise a couple times in my younger life.
Yeah, most of us, yeah.
So what was so sinful about Ham's deed?
I think he saw it as a funny thing because he told his brothers, so he didn't respect his father even for that instance. He just mocked him and kind of made light of it, where he should have just had a reverence and covered him up and not said anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are all good points. Anyone else? The sin wasn't in seeing what he saw. It reminds me of my dad telling, I think I told this story before. I quote my dad all the time. He's the most influential person in my life and the wisest, most gentle, loving, kind person I ever knew in my entire life. Anyway, he used to tell, I was a young man growing up, and so the topic of lust came up. So this just made me think of something about my dad. And he said, well, you're not responsible for what your eyes see. It's like you can't control the birds that fly over your head, but you can control whether or not you let them make a nest in your hair.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. So the sin wasn't in seeing what he saw when he walked into the tent, the sin was what he did with that. And what he did with that was the language in Hebrew suggests a lingering voyeuristic approach to it. And then to take it even a step further, goes out and, hey, look what I saw. Check this out. You know, it was sinful. It was he was in a state of vulnerability, and that nakedness in the Hebrew culture, and still today, it belongs to a marriage covenant relationship, not to be used or exploited in any other way. So these are some of the problems of why that was so egregious. And let's see here. Yeah, that's all I have about that. So he looked and lingered. He refused. So, and then Shem and Japheth's response, they refused to look and walked backwards. Remember that in the story? They saw what they saw, and then they backed out of the tent. Ham exposed and shamed. Shem and Japheth covered and protected. Ham sought to diminish his father. What a disgraceful thing to do for, we know in the Ten Commandments, you're to honor your father and mother, not to do that. And Shem and Japheth sought to preserve the father's honor. The result was a curse on his lineage, on Ham's lineage, and the result was a blessing on the other lineage. With all that's going on in the world, I know I showed a video. It'll take up the whole Sunday school, but I'd like to show it again. It's called Babylon the Great and the Caliph Antichrist, and it talks about, because we know that now the descendants of Shem in the Arabian Peninsula and all that, and how all these conflicts that are happening, I think it'd be worthy looking at it again, especially in light of what's happening in the Middle East today. Turkey definitely, in my opinion, is the nation to watch. Okay, so
When you do that, and you're gonna do it, could you let us know like a week ahead of time? Right, yeah.
okay, how about next week?
Okay, great.
Okay. Oh wait, when's Easter?
We're next week. Next week is
April 5th.
Okay, so we do have next week.
Yes.
So that's the week that we start Sunday school at 8:45.
Yes, for all of you.
No, for me.
Even though I tried to trick you with the clock. No, I really didn't do that. I promise I did not. The clock was 15 minutes slow. So,
Do that.
yeah, so if I was trying to trick, I
I'm
made.
guessing the battery.
So, yeah, would you like to see a video next week?
Yes.
Yeah. Some of these, it's so interesting.
Today too?
Yeah, we have another one for today as well.
Okay, good.
It's so interesting that some of these videos I showed when we were in Ezekiel, and then it just so happened that it fit in Daniel. I showed it then, but it fits the current events now. So if it's okay with you, we'll do it next week. Okay. My reason for that is kind of twofold. So here's the truth and the rest of the story. So I have to renew one of my license, and it takes a lot. And so if I can show a video, it'll give me that week. I would do it anyway, but killing two birds with one stone type of thing. Okay.
And then we don't have Sunday school on.
And then we do not have Sunday school on Easter.
And I'll just plug in, we're not gonna have like our formal big Easter breakfast like we usually do because it's so early in the month. Women's Ministries will just provide some light pastries and fruit, like 9:30, whenever, just kind of an informal fellowship. And then we'll still have our regular fellowship meal the third Sunday of April.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
What was the reason that another reason that Canaan was cursed. And it's also the reason why Israel sinned for all those years and was sent into Assyrian captivity for 122 years, and then subsequent Babylonian captivity of the two southern tribes for 70 years. And you can read about all that in Daniel chapter 9, Daniel's 70 weeks. So what is the similarity that God cursed Canaan and but judged Israel and sent them into captivity? So that diaspora was there was a reason for that. What were some of those reasons? Idolatry, yes.
They weren't listening to the prophets.
Yes. Yeah. The Shemitah, the resting of the land in Levitical in law. But also, I think the number one reason was child sacrifice. Yeah. If you remember when we were doing Daniel, when they would offer the children, the babies to Molech, burn them alive, and then beat the drums and the music loud enough so you wouldn't hear the baby screaming. And when they were dead and gone, they would take their bones and they would cast them into the concrete in the structure. So in archaeological excavations, they have uncovered child bones in these walls to fortify cities and stuff like that. Horrendous. Yeah, so that's horrible. And yet, here in our world today, 2026, since Roe v. Wade, we've killed what? 2.5 million babies, almost 5,000 a day. And what do we do with their bones? Well, there's some ghastly things that happen to the children that are being sacrificed today. So I didn't know I was going to get off on this, but I did. So let's get back to the text. Anyway. So why is Oops, I'm sorry.
I said, we have a main highway, we just have a lot of off roads.
Yes, and somebody that's behind the wheel that cannot read road signs and gets lost all the time.
Yeah.
down that way. Yeah, but you're still using the main GPS.
That's right. So Amy teases me after a Sunday school. She'll say, quite a few squirrels today. Yeah. So, question 2 on page 79. Why is Genesis 18 through 29 important for the overall story of Genesis and the Bible? Does anyone want to share what they thought about that?
Shows our lineage.
It does, for sure, yeah. But the Bible up until now was a global, universal direction, and it was all about all of God's creation. From this point forward, it's a pivot. And from universal history to a specific national history. This is where the divergence happens. This is where the off-ramp on that highway goes that direction, and it goes that way to the end of Genesis. It's all about national history now instead of universal history. And it's all about a specific line. After chapter 10, and then when we start in chapter 11, Ham and Japheth vanish from the text. And it's all about the line of Shem. You know, after the flood, the world was physically cleansed, but still emotionally and spiritually bankrupt, which still there was a need for that line of Shem to continue, because God knew what was going to ultimately be the end of the story for humanity. Let's see here. In verse 26, it says, Noah says, "Praise be the Lord, the God of Shem." The specificity. This is the first time that God is called the God of a specific person or people group. You know, there's a principle. It's the principle of first mention. So we had remember when we were in chapter 3, verse 15, the first mention, it was the first prophetic mention of a child, a savior to come. Remember, there was a name for that. It's proto-evangelium, the first evangelical call. It's in Genesis 3:15. So first mention means a lot. Repeated mention means a lot too, and we get some of that as well. Okay, how about page 81, verse 3? Question 3. Compare 11, 1 through 2 to 11, 9. And what changed? It was a repeat of what had happened in Eden. Rebellion. They built the Tower of Babel. And why did they build that tower?
Prove how great man was.
Yeah.
We're so awesome.
Mm-hmm. We still build towers today. Maybe not physical monuments, but
Although they do that too.
and they do that too, yes. But in our heart, thinking too highly of ourselves, thinking that we're something, we can't control whether or not we get that next heartbeat or that next breath of air. So how real important can you be? If you can't do the most basic, you're not very important. I wish we had time to get into Nimrod. I know that we did in other studies that we did, specifically Daniel. But think about this, Nimrod, historians believe that Nimrod could also be known as, in history, as Sargon the First. In historical Egyptian writings and whatnot, Babylonian writings. But Nimrod married someone. Do you remember who that was? Semiramis. Oh wait, it happened to be his mother. What could possibly go wrong? Had a child. Remember this? Tammuz. And Tammuz was eaten by wild boars, cut up. So that whole story. This is where some of the origins of what we have as a typical meal at Easter. Ham.
Oh,
This is where it originates. There are so many pagan connections to the holidays that we celebrate. Now, what's that?
I'll change it up to lasagna.
Lasagna, nice. The point is that it's okay to have ham. It's okay to have turkey. Easter eggs, Well, then we have the holiday of Ashtart, which was changed in the King James Version to Easter. That's where we get that name, celebrated by the god of fertility. And we know that rabbits they can procreate those little critters. And then the Easter egg and Ashtart. I mean, there's just so much there. It's just really quite interesting. If we ever wanted to take one of those off ramps for a whole Sunday school, I can take you down that road and give you the historical evidence, but also the biblical evidence. Tammuz, you ever heard that name before? Where at? Ezekiel, chapter 8, the warning from the prophet where he says, do not weep. Don't weep for Tammuz. Because the people of the time were taking on this pagan culture and thinking too much of it, and they were chastised for it. Hot cross buns. How many have ever heard of a hot cross bun? How many have made them? How many eat them? Oh, pagan. Pagan all the way.
Sorry.
But no, they're great. I love them. And if I knew how to make them, I'd make them. But that's not the point. We know when we get to the New Testament, right? Remember when Peter saw the blanket coming down, and what was on that blanket?
All the animals.
All the animals, but also all the baked goods, all the other stuff that Paul even says it doesn't matter if you eat meat sacrificed to idols. Do you remember reading that? Paul says that unless you're buying into the idol part of it. The kings of today and these idols of today and the idols of ancient in antiquity are just avatars for the spiritual and demonic influence that is behind them. It's a really important point to remember. Bye, Cindy.
Mike, just so you know, that's losing time again. You got about 10 minutes.
Wow, okay. So, see, I just proved it was not me.
Yes, I figured it was.
Okay. Well, good.
Right?
Oh, thank you. Did everyone get one?
So, except for Kathy.
We'll take one. You can take one for Marilyn. Will you pick one for Marilyn?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
How come they said here on page 79, it says, the oldest known towns and villages can be dated back to at least 7,000 BC.
Thank you.
At the time, Jeroboam, hard name, was a village.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says by 4,000 BC, there were cities in Nineveh.
Ugarit and Nineveh. Mm-hmm.
How can they figure 7,000 years? I thought there was only 4,000 years before Christ, 2,000 after,
Okay, so
6,000 years.
that's a really great discussion point. So is it 6,000? Or is it 7,000? Or is it billions?
No, it ain't billion.
Well, it's not billions. Okay. So if you believe the Bible, you have to believe that the creation story is somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 years old. Now, that's why. They can only base it on what historical, archaeological, and manuscript evidence that they have. So do you remember when we talked about the Genesis Apocryphon? Does that name, maybe I didn't talk about it. Have you ever heard that term before? The Genesis Apocryphon. It was found in Cave 5 in the area of,
Dead Sea Scrolls?
yeah, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were at. And the Essenes kept all this. It was in the Qumran Valley. The Genesis Apocryphon includes writings that go clear back. We have it was in this particular cave that they found the entire writing of the book of Isaiah. And it reads what we have today. It reads like this because it is. God preserved it. But also in that cave, in the Genesis Apocryphon, we have the Genesis account that rivals and predates the Epic of Gilgamesh. We also have the book of Enoch that was also in there. Now, I'm not suggesting that just because it was found, a writing was found at that time, that you can consider that canon, because it is not. What do I know? I'm not going to go against the church fathers. The Council of Trent in 1545 took the 12 apocryphal books out of the Bible and canonized those existing ones, and Enoch was not one. Remember the term pseudepigraphal? Sure, it was a writing that was found, but they cannot attribute the writing to a specific individual. That's why Enoch is not there. And remember what happened to Enoch?
He was not.
He was no more.
He was, and then he was not.
Yes, and then he was not.
So, well, there's a couple off ramps, one right after the other. But I think that stuff is so interesting. It ties it all together. I've always asked those questions. Why 7,000 years?
It should be 6.
Maybe.
6 days, and then there's 2 days now. That's 6, 7, 8. No, 6, 7, yeah.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah, those are points. Remember this always. If anyone comes to you expressing anything other than the birth, death, burial, resurrection, ascension of Jesus Christ, do not let him into your house, and neither bid him Godspeed. That's right out of your Bible. 2 John 10. Don't let him into your house. Oh no, you're not coming in here. And don't, God bless you. Don't bless him. Don't bid him Godspeed. In fact, other verses say, kick the sand off your sandals, off your shoes, and slam the door, because it's straight from the pit of hell. The point of all that is, if it doesn't affect the 5 irreducible truths of the gospel, you can talk about it. It's like 7,000, 6,000. We know it's not, all we know is it's not 20 million. Right? So I think that's something to bear in mind, because these types of things are those things that divide communities. And throughout history, we see that it has divided nations, people groups. We're still fighting each other today. Even in Islam, the Muslims, they have the Sunni and the Shia. They're killing each other. The Jews do it. We do it. Anyway, I don't know what time it is, so
9:54.
wow.
You got 5 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna take it. So on that question number 2, on 79, I think Stan took us back to that, but we'd already moved forward, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we were on 81 Tower of Babel.
yeah. So in Genesis 11, 1 through 2, it was a one language, common speech. And God confused the language and dispersed. I'm not going to show another video. Wow. But that video shows the language migration. So each of these 3 sons, the language that started there, like from Aram, one of the sons of Shem, Aram, Aramaic, that's the language that our king spoke. Then it branched out, and then the other 2 sons, Ham and Japheth, it takes you where the language is, it takes you in a visual of the entire planet, including the US, which is really kind of cool, on the language. Maybe we can show that another time as well. There's just not enough time in Sunday school.
Wow. We gotta start an hour earlier.
We still have a couple minutes. 83. Well, the question starts on bottom of page 84. It says, the first, come let's something at Babel was uttered by humans. What was wrong with their purpose for building the tower? Come let us make a name for ourselves. What's wrong with that?
We become the focus instead of God being the focus.
Right, and it's not just everyone, all of us in this room at some point, and maybe still do, want to make a name for ourselves. I want to make a name for myself. I want that name to be a name of a consistency, a name of faithfulness, a name of trustworthiness, the fruits of the Spirit, long-suffering, gentleness, kindness. I want to make a name for myself, as you do and should. The point is that making a name for yourself above the name of God, that's the problem with that. It was a part of worship. The Babel purpose was to make ourselves known, lest we be scattered. That's what it says in the text, lest we be scattered. The Bible purpose was to be scattered, to fill the earth. The second one, to avoid being scattered over the earth. The Tower of Babel was to make a name for ourselves. It was the mission, was to make a name for ourselves, a continuation of that thought. The biblical was, hallowed be thy name. Make thy name, that's part of the mission, and it's still our mission today. The third part, to reach the heavens. It says here, to contact and manipulate astral gods so as to control nature and human events.
They wanted to be God.
What's that?
They wanted to be God.
Right.
themselves.
It's just a repeat of the garden.
Yep.
It's a repeat of the garden over and over and over throughout history, because people want to stand before the living God and say, I got this. Sometimes we even do it, not even really out of disrespect, but just sometimes out of just sheer ignorance, that instead of just having faith and trust in the King of Kings, we think of ourselves a little too highly and try to do it ourselves. The promise, we talked about this, I do remember that. When we pray about something, the promise isn't that God, take me out of this. Well, that'd be nice, but unfortunately that's not what that text meant. Not take me out of it, but Lord, take me through it. Be with me as I go through it. I still am carrying this baggage of sin, even though I've been forgiven. The effects of sin in the cursed world are still here. There's still sickness. There's still sin and sickness. I'll share something, last thing, and then we're going to end it with this. I know Amy's watching today. She found out that she has just have a shoulder replacement. She had stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, a 4-centimeter tumor, 18 axillary lymph nodes involved, 2 cancer surgeries, and then they didn't get all of the titanium markers that mark the cancer lymph nodes. They didn't get them all. They missed them. So they gave her extra radiation because she couldn't do a third surgery. It would have killed her. So all of that. So extra radiation has destroyed her shoulder. If you saw the x-ray, it's supposed to be all smooth and move like this in the socket. It's terrible. Anyway, so she asked me, why me? Speaking of herself. And she says, I'm not a bad person. Why me? I said, well, really, why not you? Why not me? Why not all of us? We live in a sin-cursed world, and God promised to be with us, to walk with us, to help us through it, not take us out of it.
Maybe that's why. Because she's a child of God and she knows that he will be with her.
Yeah, you know, this people, I agree. That's probably the truth. In my own life, I think, you know, why does God give me stuff? Because the scripture that says that he will not suffer us above that which we're able to bear. And I have reminded him, oh, by the way, God, there's another Mike with my same last name that you have confused me with, because that guy's strong. This Mike is not. So, you know, go back and review the books. I don't want to be disrespectful to my God, but, you know, I never want him to say to me, depart from me, I never knew you. I let God know me, who I am, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like a movie, a Clint Eastwood movie. I'm not proud of that, but I want him to know the real me, so he never has to say, I didn't know you. Go away. Anyway, that's it. Let's go see what Sandy has for us, and we'll get that clock fixed.
Thanks for the handouts.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
So we're going to start on